Coming up on this episode of The Village Idiom.
Although you could say, he rang my bell, like you got punched.
You got punched in the head and you got put out.
But if you say, he rang my bell, it's pain. If you say, come ring my bell, it's pleasure.
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
Throw you off a little bit?
That really messed me up. That's okay.
We are a podcast that every single week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting dive into its meaning, its usage, its origins, but we're also going to use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
That kills me. All your bassiness there makes me want to throw some props out to you.
Props?
Because so on Christmas Eve, you were also part of a world sensation four-man quartet.
World sensation is
you've traveled,
pumping it up a little bit.
Well, have you traveled varying parts of the world?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Back in the
multinational.
Day. Yeah.
And so on Christmas Eve, you were doing performances of White Christmas, of which you were the bass line.
Yeah.
Ba-dum. And so
I'm dreaming.
You actually, so of all things, like because you're normally bass, you're like carrying like some tempo and bass line, but you were like singing lead.
So in the decades of singing with these guys, this is the first time I've sang a lead. Because it suited it. Like, I'm not a lead voice, but to do a crooner style, we cheesed it up, right? To do a crooner style Christmas carol. And it was novelty.
It was epic.
It was a bit of a luxury because in COVID season, we're not allowed to gather, not allowed to do a concert. But so we were actually able to perform 2 locations on the same night because it's all online.
Double book, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so it was great. We don't perform live very often anymore because it's super casual. We all have real lives and so it felt good.
One aspect of the performance that I love when I see my own generation doing stuff. I love all it's like, hey, it's 16-year-old sensation, whatever. And you're like, but when it's like, hey, it's 49-year-old sensation, I'm like, oh, my heart melts a little.
Instead of just like, whatever, 9 to 5, sitting behind a desk, we're doing something.
And so when you guys are belting it out, so I was like already captivated. But then so the song was White Christmas, and in our particular venue, the snow machines were running to give the snow effect. And the snow was literally piling up on your nose and forehead, and it was like blanking you out with so much snow.
The machine was set on mark-seeking missile
turbo mode.
Yeah, and with this kind of realistic, look at this nose.
There's place to land.
If I go outside in real snow, it builds up.
Build a snowman just off your own face.
So if you watch the video, because were you in the room when we did it?
No. I'd already been gone for the live.
Yeah, okay. So on the video, you can actually catch me blowing the snow off my nose because I couldn't even see past it when it's that close. I'm like, I can't see anything in front of me.
It was amazing
because it's like, what is that stuff made out of? Fake snow. It's like bubbles.
Soap.
Yeah, it just disappears right away.
So if you get a chance, you should pop that little clip up on the social media.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I will. I didn't think to do it on our stuff, but
it's worth it.
I'll
it's
post
so
a little
good.
clip. I'll try and catch me blowing the snow off.
Include a Rhythm and News link or something like
that.
That's fun.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks
it was so good. It's so Christmassy and heartwarming. And so just layers of love. I was like, I've been so in love with what's happening right now.
That's so nice. Thank you for saying
it was
all
good.
That. Wow. After that build up, I said I'm Jurassic Mark.
I'm skinny.
He's still skinny after all the Christmas holidays. Did you have some good eats though?
So
this
basically ate once.
This episode is the first one post Christmas. So we're between.
Well, it's New Year's Eve.
We're between. Oh, it's New Year's Eve.
It's New Year's Eve.
Wow.
I know. With the Ro-Ros out there, one day just kind of blends into the next.
Yeah. You have some time off right now?
Well, I was just finishing my other thought that I've actually only eaten once in all of this Christmas season. It's just stretched
one
out.
continual?
It gets broke by sleeping. Otherwise, I'm eating.
Otherwise, the plate's still full. It's within arm's reach.
I've eaten more turkey sandwiches. I love turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
And we had a nice Christmas bird. Woo! And so I've been eating turkey sandwiches daily, sometimes twice a day.
Yeah. Typically, we're driving from one set of family to the other, and this year we never left the house. So it was like Christmas was 4 days long because we just never went anywhere.
So fun.
And everyone was home and not working. So we did the turkey sandwich thing early. We never actually had a turkey meal. So one day was like turkey sandwich, make your own cranberry turkey sandwiches. One day was just snacks and appies all day. Like it never stopped baking something.
Sounds so good.
And then, of course, my mother-in-law, I think we talked about this an episode or two ago. She chooses a different culture to celebrate Christmas. And so she lives with us. And so it was Filipino Christmas this year.
Oh.
So just the food was unreal. But the dessert was this creamy, I'm trying to remember what it was called. I can't remember what it was called, but it was creamy. This is going to sound horrible to us white bread folks.
Yeah.
But it was delicious. It was like a coconut creamed corn.
Oh, yeah. I'm in.
It was amazing.
You had me at coconut and cream and
My
corn.
mouth is watering right now. And I only remember the name of one of them. We had little signs out to name them all because the only reason I remember this one is because for the rest of the day we were going Bulang Lang,
Bulang Lang.
Bulang Lang, and which was I think that was
good.
Oh man, I can't remember which dish that was, but there was bananas, fried bananas and stuff, and coconut and chicken.
That's my love language, baby.
It was great.
So hopefully some of our illegitimate children out there, you got to enjoy the Christmas love as well and do something interesting with your family and loved ones.
I said people get time off this time of year, but not podcasters.
Oh, no.
This is nonstop.
Diligent. To the grind. Research.
That's right.
In depth. Some of this idiom vaguely reminds me of something, but
hilarious.
But I can't really put my finger on it.
Well, maybe this will help. Listen to this.
Yeah.
A while back, I was assigned to keep tabs on a musician,
Recognize the
Mick
voice?
Jagger. He was in this British band, Rolling Stones.
Rings.A.Bell.
Mick Jagger, heard of him?
Rings.A.Bell.
He was in a British band.
It reminds me of the guy who is he was like the CIA agent in like Soledad.
I wonder if you're right. So he's the guy that quote unquote replaces Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black 3.
I wonder if it's the same person.
It might be.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're loving the season. Hopefully you've been able to enjoy some stuff as well.
Anyway, that clip was the intro. Rings-A.Bell.
It vaguely reminds me of an introduction we had.
Is the idiom du jour.
Rings-A.Bell.
Rings-A.Bell.
That rings a bell.
That rings a bell.
Now, I was thinking about it in terms of that rings a bell. And, PG-13, but that there is also like, it rings my bell, which sounds like a little more off color.
Like ring my bell?
Yeah.
Although you could say he rang my bell, like you got punched.
You got punched in the head and you got put out.
But if you say he rang my bell, it's pain. If you say come ring my bell, it's pleasure. There's a difference right there. Pain and pleasure.
Yeah, so there was something in there that was like, that just paused me for a moment.
Yeah.
It vaguely reminded me of something.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So the idiom rings a bell rang a bell for you.
Yes.
Regarding.
But it didn't ring my bell.
No.
Which is entirely different.
I remember vaguely, funny enough, a joke my dad told me when I was a kid, and it goes with today's thing, and I'll try to be politically correct with it compared to how he told it back in the day.
Sure.
But basically, in this small town with a typical cathedral, the way he described it to me was like Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it wasn't that exactly.
Okay.
And this hunchback character in the joke. This is terrible joke telling right now.
Yeah, hunchback.
He's trying to get a job. He's trying to make a living, but can't get hired anywhere. And this church says, you know what? We need a bell ringer. Mm-hmm. Like,
Yep.
I'll fast forward this because I think you know where this is going. Punchline is out there. And so the priest takes the hunchback who could barely form words. He's like just happy to be doing anything. He's going to get fed by the church. Takes him up the bell tower and he's like, here's the rope. So on these hours, you ring it this way and just pull this rope, gong, gong, gong. The whole village will hear it. That's great. And so first day on the job, priest leaves him. You're good. Yep, I'm good. Or, yep, good. Mm-hmm. Hunchback voice. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And priest leaves and 12
French.
12 o'clock comes and gong. He's like, perfect. Next time, whatever it is, I don't know if it was on the hour or whatever. Next time, gong. He's like, that's right. So the third time he goes up to where he took him the first time to just tell him he's doing a good job. And he's standing there by the rope and there's no hunchback. There's no bell ringer. He's like, oh man, do I have to ring this myself? And right on cue, gong. But the rope doesn't even move and the guy's not there. He's like, what? Looks up the tower, the bell's swinging. So works his way all the way up to the roof and there's the hunchback on the roof. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm ringing a bell. Okay, but from up here? Yeah, so he waits an hour to the next bell ringing time. And the priest's standing there, arms crossed, wondering, how is he ringing the bell up here? And on the hour, the hunchback backs up to the edge of the rooftop of the cathedral and just starts running as fast as he can towards the bell. And bam! Smashes his face on the bell. Gong! He's like, what are you doing? I gotta do it 3 more times, 3 o'clock. Gong! And the third time, he just misses. Goes right off the roof of the church. The priest's like, oh no, why is he doing this? This is brutal. Runs downstairs, there's already a crowd gathered, and people are like, does anybody know who this is? Does anybody? And the priest says, I don't know, actually, but his face rings a bell.
I didn't see that coming.
Did you not?
No. Wow. That's so good.
There you go.
I love that joke.
That was
This is just dawning
from
on me now
childhood.
because we do that ogre-y Hodor kind of voice for the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Sorry, I'm getting weird. I'm sure that's going to sound good later. There, that took care of it. Nothing but professionalism here. Did you hear the hiss before I did that?
I did, but I definitely heard that crackle.
Yeah. Sorry.
And but we don't do it because if he's Hunchback from Notre Dame is in France,
Right.
but we never do like
Like you do the... Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So he's like, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
This is going bad.
So he's not
This
he's
day
not
and age,
French.
I didn't even want to do any kind of voice telling a joke. That's the era we live in.
But it's like Hodor, like in the what's that the TV show with the dragons, the dragon one anyway.
How to Train Your Dragon?
I honestly can't remember the name.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
That character, he's just like the big ogre kind of
I've
character.
never seen an episode. I
Hodor.
actually don't know.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if it's not PC. It's,
What's the name of the actual... Oh, Quasimodo.
yeah,
Quasimodo.
Quasimodo. You say it double. Say my name, girl. Quasimodo, Modo.
Oh, is his name Quasimodo?
No, it's just Modo.
Oh, okay. We're bringing it all in today. A little Madagascar, a little Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That just sums up like just the random brain thoughts that anyway. So I was thinking about in ringing the bell. Are you an alarm person? Morning alarm kind of person?
If I showed you so I have a very, very subtle alarm on my phone. And it's like, but usually I've turned it off before because I have it set. That'd be the best alarm sound ever right there. I have it set to go from silent to louder. So if it doesn't wake me up, it gets louder, louder, louder. And so the first time it goes off, it's just the vibration, the vibrate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And usually I've already snoozed it or turned it off before I ever hear a sound. Funny enough, just this week, I walked away. I guess I got up before it went off. Walked away, came back in with my alarm going with this weird TikTok drum, like. And before I can get there to turn it off, I hear, and I'm like, actually panicked me. So if you let my alarm play long enough, a voice comes on it just with this evil laugh, and I've never heard it before. I've been using it for a year and a half. Just scared the crap out of me.
There's someone in my room? That's freaky.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my alarm. It's super subtle. I wake up pretty easily. You?
So I go through. I've gone through very phases of it, but for these last several years, no alarm, no clock.
Really?
Yeah, and so, but my wife has one on her side that she's had since she was a teenager.
Oh, okay.
And so I find myself, it makes no sense. Like I get up and I'm like, have to look over her to go see what time it is, but I don't have one myself.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And so do you just...
I'm doing okay financially. We got that.
Do you have like
We got some of
internal
that
clock? Do you get up on time? Like you're not late for things?
That HelloFresh money is
pouring in
and allows me to purchase things that I want.
Yes.
Like alarm clocks. No, I just don't have one. Isn't that weird?
Well, it's a good segue to our HelloFresh friends,
Definitely.
who have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
Did you have been using HelloFresh over the holidays?
Of all irony, we have not.
I was just talking to someone who was raving about the money saving that they've experienced from using it. How little shopping they do now. HelloFresh, if you don't know, is a meal planning that comes to your door with pre-measured amounts for amazing meals. We had this spicy curry coconut something awesome.
Bulayaya.
Bulang-lang.
Bulang-lang.
No, that was homemade, but yeah, it's just like HelloFresh, dinner solved. If you send a message to us in any way, we'll give you some contact information later on. You can get a free trial on the HelloFresh. But
Yeah. It's good. They've been good to us. So anyways.
But your alarm clock, your HelloFresh fresh branded alarm
So
clock.
I don't have an alarm clock.
You have your phone.
I don't.
Who uses alarm clocks
don't.
other than your wife from her
The only
teenage years?
time that I would alarm myself is if it would be like a 4 or 5 a.m. on my phone. But other than that, I prefer the natural wake up.
And you're always on time to stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I notoriously wake up a minute or two before it goes off, though.
Yeah.
I look over. Huh. In fact, sometimes I'll count seconds to see how close was my internal clock to the real clock. It'll be like, whatever, 7:59 and I'm getting up at 8, which would be sleeping in, actually, on school days with my daughter. But 7:59, how close was I? 1,000, 2, 1,000. Sometimes I'm 10 seconds off of what would have been my alarm.
Well, because I think that's what it is because my kids have their wake up routines at 7:30.
So you hear it anyway.
And my wife is up, in the 6:30 zone. And so that stirring, I think, is like that's my alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever.
You're still doing well.
It is. Rings-A-Bell.
Rings-A.Bell.
Rings
That's
a bell.
today's idiom.
Well, let's we should
Yeah,
probably
we've
find
been
a-
rambling. This is what happens over the holidays. There's so much extra stuff to talk about.
We should pretty much get into this here. Where does this come from?
Well, let's find out.
Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind.
You had a little Jack Black going on.
That's what I was thinking in my head, but he's genius. All righty. So this there's not a lot to talk about today, but it is kind of interesting. So that rings a bell, or anything rings a bell. Space rings a bell. The name rings a bell. Anything like that.
Space rings a bell.
Originated in the first half of the 20th century, so it's not that old. And this is how they said it. It's tempting to assume that, which I would have never thought of actually, that it originated as a reference to the experiments of Ivan Pavlov. Did you read about this? He was the Russian physiologist who showed that dogs can be prompted to salivate at the sound of a bell, even if the food that the animal anticipates being given is withheld. So it's a conditioned response.
Ring the bell, the dog will salivate.
Yeah, after however much time of ring the bell, here's your treat, ring the bell, here's your treat. Then it became ring the bell, nothing, still salivating from anticipation. So there was a lot of people guessing that it came from Pavlov's dog, and it fit timely-wise, like calendar-wise, it matches with this becoming a phrase in the English language. So it was easy to assume that. But short study says that's probably no connection at all. In fact, I
like it though.
I do too.
Yeah. It has some balderdash merit.
Another theory suggests that bells have been, like what we were just talking about, bells have been used to remind or instruct us to do stuff for centuries. So school bells, dinner bells, alarm bells. It's always bells that remind us of things.
Right.
So there's the connection right there. Rings a bell. It reminds me to do something. But that rings a bell is more likely to be a reference to a more general allusion to any stimulus that prompts us to have, here's an interesting thing, to have an inkling of a thought. And so is it a coincidence that inkling and the tinkling of a bell is such a similar word, like, because it's a faint bell, it's just the tinkling of a thought?
I was out for a walk with my wife yesterday, because that's just something that happens all the time.
Yep.
And we were chattering about some things going on in lives around us, and I said something about it's got to be challenging for that person dealing with another person's crap. Well, she's a nurse, deals with babies and all these like measurements, and she goes, oh, I forgot to write on my report that the baby, whatever baby she was taking care of, didn't crap yesterday. Like they document everything,
right,
to make sure that all the inner workings of the kid are going properly. And like, it's got to be tricky, dealing with other people's crap. She's like, oh, I didn't write down that the baby didn't crap.
Dealing with other people's crap.
Yeah. And so it was one thought that triggered off into her a whole nother area.
The brain is...
It's the inkling of...
Interesting.
It's the inkling of a thought. Crap.
Yeah. And that kind of thing, have you ever been like searching for a word or a name and you're like, what is it? I'm reading a book right now on creativity by John Cleese. Super short book, brand new. And he talks about how your brain does that thought reminder thing so he was talking about writing sketches for Monty Python, or for even pre Monty Python in university. And they'd be writing sketches and he would just hit a writer's block, like just staring at that page, trying to write something down. Nothing happens. And he'd go to sleep. He'd wake up and he couldn't get it off. Couldn't write it down fast enough. And he's done some little experiments, and basically he's like, your brain subconsciously continues to work on stuff. So it's like when you're like trying to remember what's that movie? What's that? And you might even go, it's almost like you're going through the Rolodex of your brain, because you might even go, starts with an R, and you still can't come up with it. And then you walk away, you're like, whatever. You walk away, you go to like wash the dishes, you're like, Rambo! It was Rambo! Because you've stopped.
Your brain's still going.
And your brain's still going on the subject that you think you've quit on.
I'm a full believer in this thing. Yep, just let it go do something different, and it'll come to you.
Yeah, it's still working in the background.
Yeah,
so that's the ring the bell thing, where you're like, it's in there. It's in my Rolodex, but it'd take me a while to find it.
Something gets unrung in the bell between floors of your home when you go from upstairs to, I'm like, I need to take care of something downstairs. And by the time you get down there, the bell is unrung.
That happens on my way out of the studio. Okay, get up from my chair, walk out the door. What am I standing for?
I was standing for something.
Or you go all the way into the room that you were going to get or do something, and you stand there and you kind of look around like,
surveying
what was I coming in here for? Huh.
Anyway, the unrung bell.
Hey, I just glanced over my shoulder. I'm gonna throw a thank you to you for this amazing Christmas gift, the 1811 Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue, a book that we've actually referenced on more than one, for sure, episode. And I don't know how you found this old timer book, but it's got some winners.
We were talking about it in one episode, and then our friend Jillian Lang messaged me that this is on sale at some book, like some old book thing. And I'm like, oh,
really?
Yeah, so I've had it for months waiting for Christmas to give it to you.
Funny enough, now that I have it, it's like when you get a new car and now you see that car everywhere. Yesterday, I was at the mall and I was looking at their calendars, and one of those a page a day calendars was quotes from this book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it says vulgar tongue. It's not like, dropping F-bombs.
No.
But there's funny ones.
It might have been that bad for the 1800s.
I'll drop one out to our illegitimate children and give you moments to reflect. And so one of them was my lawful blanket.
Yeah. I said, see if you can guess what this one is. What's your lawful blanket? And you nailed it right away.
And so if you've had time to mull it over, your lawful blanket is your wife. Which you were telling me my wife was present, and I guess lawful blanket, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's your wife. And she just like looks at in disgust at me. Kind of misogynistic.
It was probably, that's pretty, it's rude-ish now, but it's tongue in cheek, right? But back then,
My
that
lawful
could have been
blanket.
like crass in the saloon. Like, I gotta head home to my lawful blanket.
So it's that. Well,
She's required by law to lay on top of me.
so, but the part that I liked about it, and its reference to today's idiom, is that it has the smatterings of something. So lawful. So I was thinking immediately go to like legal type
Yeah.
things, or my lawfully wedded wife. And then blanket, you're like, oh, something that you sleep with.
Keeps you warm.
Yeah, and then it's like, that's your wife. So it vaguely reminds you of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Totally.
what would have been worse is that if it wasn't that, like your lawful blanket, and I'm like, it's a wife. And then she's like, well,
No,
what?
actually, it means...
Exactly. That would have really got me. It's actually better that it was.
Well, we'll wrap up the origins with this. Most early references in print to Rings.A.Bell relate to actual bells used in safety devices or to summon servants, which is interesting. Like, think of...
Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey, the ring and the bell. Oh, your bell's been rung, whatever. One of the earliest...
Which is different.
Which is different. To the ring my bell thing. Yeah. One of the earliest that refers to ringing a bell in the sense of awakening a memory is in the U.S. writer Lee Thayer's novel, Counterfeit, 1933. And here's the one sentence. It says, wait a second, Ray, why does that name ring a bell with you? There it is.
There it is.
In print, 1933. So there you go.
Let's see if this rings a bell.
I love when they catch you off guard and you just look at me, your eyes go big.
It's good. Well, we should think about heading into the final stretch here with some riddlings.
Don't mind if we do. All right, Riddling is a game that we like to play that is a two-part trivia-based question and requires a two-part but overlapping answer, overlapping by sound or word or even words. If last time it was multiple words. And so, for example, our last episode 103, which was good spirits. We talked about what good spirits means, and our riddling that we left you with. Oh man, I wrote down somebody who came in with I think it was Dang Alano, actually.
Of course.
He's back in action. The riddle link was this: happy and upbeat, and mom and dad can hardly wait for school to start again. Did you figure that one out?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but
Yeah.
what's the first part? It's beginning.
Happy and upbeat. You remember the name of the
I
episode?
don't remember the name of the idiom.
Good spirits.
Good spirits beginning to look
There
a
it
lot
is.
like Christmas.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that is how riddle link is played.
Burst a blood vessel on that one.
Go through the Rolodex. It's ringing a bell. Hey, did you know if you go back and watch or listen to Good Spirits episode, randomly as you're talking about something, I'm like, yeah, it rings a bell. Oh, you were talking about rice porridge. And I'm like, this rings a bell. And I just thought it was funny that was this week's idiom without planning it. I
Bell
actually
ringing.
used it.
Well, we got to get into it. We're
Oh,
going
yeah, sorry.
to TikTok our time away. Okay, let me go first.
Go, do it.
I got a couple, and let's see if you can deal with this. This horror movie about a videotape is something I kind of recollect.
Oh, is it just the ring a bell? The ring. The rings a bell. Okay, the rings a bell.
The Rings.A.Bell.
There we go. Okay, here's one for you.
Hey, if you're Villegitimate Children's, let's see if you can beat us here.
Now that sounds familiar, like the principle of Saved by the Bell.
Oh my! I don't know the answer to
Oh,
that.
you don't know it? Mr.
Rings.A.Bell.
Ding. Belding.
Belding? Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, man. So
One generation younger than us is screaming at the radio right now.
Yeah,
Radio.
Yeah.
And they're also not calling it radio.
The radios on the 8 tracks.
That's
Okay, well,
right.
let's give you another one.
Give it to
here.
me. I'll get it.
Same vein.
Okay.
I vaguely remember the Harry Potter antagonist witch.
Oh. Yep. Rings a bell. Vadir. Rings a Bellamy? I can't remember.
Silly rabbit. This?
Tricks are for kids. Bellatrix. I don't know how you say it, but
It's a Rings.
Rings.A.Bell Bellatrix.
Yeah, Rings.A.Bell Bellatrix. Her last name is Lestrange.
Oh, that's right.
Rings.A.Bell.
Okay, I got one more, but why don't you tell everybody how they can get a hold of us for
man.
either their HelloFresh
These are some tricky
treat
ones.
or to play along.
If you're interested in some HelloFresh love for a first-time user there, we would love to send you something. You can reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email us at thevillageidiom.podcast@gmail.com, or whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone.
Now, admittedly, this is for a narrow audience, but I think somebody's going to get it.
I'm looking to hear from the Baroness, the Escalade.
Yeah, here it comes. An animated movie featuring a young boy who must find a magical suit of armor worn by his father in order to defeat a vengeful spirit. Does that remind you of anything?
Good one. Well, that has been 3 Minutes Gone.
Boom, shakalaka.
Boom, that just happened. So it was definitely fun. Lots of vague remembrances on that one.
Lots of vague remembrances. That's poetic right there.
Yeah. I'm like a modern Chaucer.
Chaucer.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah. Or something like that. I can't exactly put my finger on it.
You're the worst.
So it was fun putting today's episode together.
Alexander Graham Bell. There's got to be more.
Happy New Year, friends. Have the happiest of New Year's. Stay safe. Enjoy yourself. Have a fun evening tonight if you're listening to this on New Year's Eve. I'm Skinny.
I am Jurassic Salivating Dog Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
And you can come and ring my bell.
That's 3 minutes gone.